So the essence of the argument basically is that the plaintiffs in this case shouldn't have even brought this case because they're citing the Second Amendment as opposed to what's at issue, which is equal protection and special legislation. Is that?
Well, they're trying to bring in the Second Amendment after they didn't plead the Second Amendment.
Okay.
They're pending cases in federal court, and in part the reason they're in federal court because in those cases the attorneys pled the Second Amendment. In this case, as my Assistant Attorney General pointed out, they even in their pleadings, they said in essence they could have pled it, but they're dealing with equal protection and the special legislation question.
What about the Stocks? He said that you can't get to those issues of special legislation or equal protections without first addressing the fundamental right of the Second Amendment.
I think that's a false argument. I mean, what they pled, they're taught in law school to plead the cases, the matters that you want argued. They strategically, perhaps they didn't want to argue in federal court, they strategically, unlike others who have challenged this act, they chose not to plead a Second Amendment case, and so there's no reason for the Supreme Court to go to that issue.
So how confident are you after today's hearing?
I'm fairly confident, that, there are issues, as pointed out by the justices, that the trial court did not address, the circuit court did not address in assessing in an equal protection case. You have to address the question of similarly situated, and they didn't even do that. So I'm fairly confident.
So similarly situated is basically, and again, for readers and viewers at home, you're basically talking about, in essence, arguing whether different classes of people are protected under the state constitution, under equal protection, right? And I guess just like in layman's terms, like why didn't the plaintiffs prove that?
You have to ask them.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, they couldn't prove it, right? There's some people who are, the legislature made the decision to grandfather some, and then to make exceptions for those who are serving in sort of a law enforcement capacity. So.
Well, they seem to raise the grandfather argument. Why people who already have these weapons get to keep them, but if you don't already have them, you can never have one. And it's not based on whether or not you've received any training or anything. It's just they just drew a line. I mean, is that defensible?
Yeah, under a rational basis test, and we're trying to keep people safe. We've had people use these type of weapons to commit mass shootings, and there's a rational basis to say that we don't want a proliferation of assault weapons out there because we're losing lives right here in the state of Illinois. And
those shootings, though, are committed by people who already have those weapons.
And do you want more people to go out and get those weapons and go to parades and commit mass shootings? I don't, and I don't think the legislature does either. During the course of this case, making its way through the system, there have been use of such weapons in multiple cases, almost every week or every other week. And I think there's a rational basis to stop the proliferation of these types of weapons in the hands of people that'll do mass damage, take many lives in a matter of seconds.
I want to get your kind of, I guess, strategy in the federal cases, but first back to the question of training. Can I not get the same type of training that law enforcement can get, or security or wardens can get? Can I Well,
you play a different role, right? It's not just a question of training. You're not in a law enforcement role, I don't think. With regards to the federal cases, we're going to litigate that in federal court, not before microphones.
So you don't want to talk strategy or?
No, but I appreciate the offer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. On the federal cases, though, the Seventh Circuit has consolidated all of these cases?
Yeah,
Is that right?
there are two things going on. There's Justice Barrett at the Supreme Court looking at things, and then also the proceedings before the Seventh Circuit.
We haven't heard from Barrett.
Not yet.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.